and welcome back to the third part of this personal survival budget recording, and obviously looking at calculating the next 12 months of personal survival budget needs. I'd recommend you watch the first two videos because this third video, standalone on its own, probably won't mean much. The first two videos were giving the background to setting up the template, and then obviously from setting up the template, starting to populate with various figures. So very, very quickly, column B is how much each one of these, C is the frequency in terms of often, D is how much it would be over 12 months, and E is when they go out. And like I said, if you want to look at the first first two videos, this is the third one, just see how that's been put together to get this annual need of just sort of short of 36,000. That's probably a better way looking at it, just over 35,000, because things are going to go up in cost again over the year. So the next part is this column F, which is all about how you update this. So this column F is going to be the ongoing, I suppose, work in progress column, because what you want to do is, yes, it's useful to know how much is needed over 12 months, but what is key is, if you remember, these go out at different times. So different times of the year, you're going to have different survival needs. So that figure there, hopefully, won't change too much. Possibly go up. It could possibly go down. You never know. Some things you might stop doing, change of, doing things, etc., etc. So yeah, that figure there. But what you want to do is, as you go through each month, is have an understanding of your survival needs for the next 11 months and 10 months and 9 months. Of course, you don't want to do a new spreadsheet. You just want to update this one so you completely understand how much is needed for the next 10, 11, 6 months, etc. So I tend to update this probably 3 or 4 times a month. Okay, I'm a busy person. I do a number of things like most people, so I'm not sitting at this all day every day. I'm not logging in every day to have a look at this. I'm not updating it every day, but I try to update it as regular as possible. But the good thing, again, because it's an Excel spreadsheet, you can use a formula to help do this. So this is the annual figure. Now, what you need to do, and it's going to very much mirror this initially to start with, but then there'll be some changes as you go through the year. So the first thing is to do equals, then the how much it is, and then I'm not going to use the cell reference. I'll explain why in a bit. I'm just going to do times 12. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that for all the ones where it's a 12 months payment or frequency, because it's exactly the same, copying the same formula, just then moving the rows to make sure that the figures are correct. But as I say, I will explain why I'm doing it this way, and not necessarily just using the one column C to do this. So just making sure I cover all the 12s. There's only one left, I think, by the looks of it. Oh no, there's another one there. And then I'm going to then copy the times 10. That is one payment, because it's annual insurance. Again, just this is based on what your own sort of payment methods. Some people pay their insurance monthly, some pay it annually. So there's no, oops, sorry, I've got to do by one. This is by one as well. So the ones that are one, I'm going to just control and copy. Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. These are 52, so it's that times 52, and just copy that down, and it's that times 6. So, it's come up in red. Let's just change that. So I am going to use a different color coding for a bit later on when I actually do a new video let's just save that in terms of some of the other things that you need to kind of build in that are very I call them useful tools. So I'm just going to check I've not used any sort of, I've not just copied the same as that there. I've used numbers in terms of that. And sometimes you've got to be careful because I've done 12 there. Oh, yeah, it is 12. Sorry, yeah, it's correct. It's 12. Yeah, 12, 12, 12, 1, 12, 1. I mean, the figures at the bottom should actually clue there. They should be the same. So, yeah, just a quick through to make sure I've done numbers rather than cell references for the second part of that. Okay, so that's accurate. So that is the work in progress. So what I would do is once those payments have gone out, I would adjust that particular amount, because once the first of the month has been and gone and that payment's made, that has actually gone. So you've paid it. The survival need for that particular payment's not there anymore. So I just reduce that to 11, and I do that. I'm just going to do it quickly manually for all the ones where the payment's on first, but I don't actually do it till obviously. In fact, I think I've just noticed the council tax actually should not be 11 because it was 10 previously. Because it was 10 payments, that should be 9. So yeah, so you know, there's obviously the human element to this, but yeah, it's reducing the payment by 1. So let's just check the council tax is 9, and then the water is 11. 11. Now that's monthly on the 12th, so I'm not going to adjust that yet. So let's say this is the 4th or 5th of the month. We're not to the 12th yet, so I want to keep those in. Okay, so that's monthly on the 1st. So this would be part of the way through the month. That one's monthly on the 20th, monthly on the 1st. Of course, you can do these in what order you want. You know, I've done them in a particular order. If you want to do all the monthly on the 1st altogether, that's fine. I've sort of tried to do it where the key sort of outgoings are at the top half, etc. But again, there's no, you know, I don't say, well, do it. You must do it that way. It's up to yourself in terms of how you do it. We're in April, not in May, but obviously when May comes, I can, change that to 0. Is there any more monthly on the 1st? The weekly ones, I tend not to update until we've had a full month, and then I would reduce it by, say, 4 or 5 weeks. So that would go down to 48, 47, or, whatever. So I don't change the weekly ones until I've done a few weeks of actually food shopping. I think most people do their shopping weekly. And that's a monthly on the 1st as well. So reduce that, but that's down to 5. So the reason to do that is obviously now you've got a more up-to-date, accurate figure. Your personal survival needs is still that for a 12-month period, but it's now that from the period that you're updating this. And say this is say it's the 3rd, 4th of the month. So I've only reduced those ones at the first of the month. Now, if I forget to do this or do it at the end of the month, I can literally do a full month of reducing it. So it gives you a good idea any period during a 12-month period in terms of actually what you've got left to survive. Now, you do have to then consider your income that's also come in possibly or yet to come in, but we're not covering income yet. So what we've got now is we've got how much it is in terms of the basic cash or money going out of the bank, how often, the frequency of it, so 12 payments down to once a year, the full 12 months personal survival needs, when, which is either very accurate in terms of that's the exact date it goes out, or when it's things like, I mean, you could put weekly on a Monday. I don't, sort of it's up to you how much additional detail. Or when there's things like dentists and hair and clubs and clothing, you might want to pick a particular time of the month. But also, you might want to put, well, for dentist and hair, because it's not as frequent as 12 payments. It's 6 in there, but make sure you adjust this column correctly here. And then say this is your ongoing sort of personal survival needs as you actually update this thing. Again, If you wanted to stop at this point and you felt like you've got enough information, then again, that's absolutely fine in terms of stopping. You know, I mean, I did say in I think the last video, stop at this point when you know what you need for the next 12 months. But the reason for updating it, I would say, is that one, you can keep an eye at any given time of the year, and two, these things on the right are they don't obviously there's a lot of talk at the moment, prices going up in April for certain things, but some of these things will change during the year, particularly things like when you're renewing insurances up or down, um, and food prices and petrol, etc. So, yeah, these aren't all what we would call in the sort of business world fixed costs. A lot of them are quite variable. But as I say, depending on how much time you've got to do this, and I say I am a very busy person, but I just like to. I've done this now for probably a good uh, 13, 14 years, probably 14 years of doing this. Um, like this. Um, and 14 years ago, what, yeah, like about 2010, 2011, when a lot of people remember when credit crunch happened in 2008. So, I've done this and updated it and done a new spreadsheet. Obviously, what we're going to move to is having one spreadsheet, but I've just got these different tabs in the bottom. So the next part of this, we're going to skip G at the moment. We're going to come back to that because G don't really want to complete until I've got some more information. So we've done all the